We all know that we have five senses. We can see, we can hear, we can touch, we can smell, and we can taste. But have you ever wondered why some of us are able to smell anything from a distance, while others do not smell anything, even if the source of the smell is right under their nose? And that many animals like the dogs can smell the odor even if the source of the smell is taken away from the place with only a trace of the odor remaining. Let us explore what is odor and how we smell it. Anything that has an odor constantly evaporates tiny quantities of smell-producing molecules. The odor of a substance depends on its physical properties like its intensity, character, frequency, and duration. The chemical sensors present in our olfactory system act as receptors of these molecules and send electrical signals to a specific microregion of the olfactory bulb. The microregion, or glomerulus, then passes on this information to other parts of the brain. The response to a smell by our brain forms a pattern such that each time our nose encounters those molecules, we recognize and identify the type, location, and period when we smelt it. In fact, more sensitive the receptors in our olfactory system are, the stronger is the sense of smell. The term sense refers to the means by which an organism or animal receives and perceives signals regarding physical or chemical changes or both in its environment. But the sense of smell that is sensed by the nose is not limited to smell. In fact, in many animals, it can even influence their behavior, social interactions, and even reproduction. The receptors in our nose are tiny machines that are naturally found in the nerve cells. When the odor molecules bind to them, they change shape and send electrical signals to the brain. What makes this process so difficult and challenging to mimic is the merging between biology and electronics. This is what we call bioelectronics. So essentially, to make an electronic nose, we need to convert a biological signal into an electronic one, just like our brain does. Electronic nose is an example of a growing research area called biomimetics or biomimicry that involves development of human-made applications on a pattern the nature works. It is aimed to function similar to human olfaction or the ability to smell, such that it is able to identify, compare, and quantify odor. Now imagine a scenario when you open your fridge where there is leftover cheese. It doesn't look so good, but as a final quality control, you smell it and then decide if it is okay to eat. So any technical device that is created should be able to do this and perhaps even more. There are several stages in the development of an e-nose. Firstly, the researcher needs to determine what it wishes the e-nose to smell. And then comes the question, how it would smell. And for this, the material and number of sensors used and the electronics play a key role.
People are working with MEMS-based sensors. They are also working on nano biosensors. Nanosensors and biosensors, an optimum marriage between them is creating nano biosensors to really have miniaturized sensor array for very sensitive and selective operation for various applications. Array means not one sensor, a combination of sensors.
We have come to realize that nature is a marvelous engineer. So, in looking for how to design electronic nose sensors that are more sensitive, more powerful than what we have today to rival the sniffer dogs that you see at the airport, we look to biology for inspiration. And our biologists thought that it is the shape of the molecules that decides the smell. But it is becoming clearer that in addition to the shape, the vibrational energy of the molecules have something to do with our sense of smell. It has been proposed that this vibrational energy of the molecule that you are smelling is actually sensed through a quantum mechanical process of current flow called inelastic tunneling. The problem is that this mechanism for smelling something would not normally work at room temperature. So the innovation that we had is we came up with a design for a next generation device which is based on extremely narrow wires, few atom thick wire devices that show real promise of detecting vibrational energies even at room temperature. With my colleague and collaborator Dipankar Saha here, he is able to experimentally fabricate such structures, and we are looking to now experimentally demonstrate next generation sensors based on these quantum mechanical structures.
India Science is an internet-based science TV channel initiated by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, implemented and managed by Vigyan Prasar. India Science on the URL www.indiascience.in is a bilingual channel with content in Hindi and English. It can be accessed on any internet-enabled device. This video platform is dedicated to science and technology knowledge dissemination with a strong commitment to spreading scientific awareness, especially with Indian perspectives, ethos and cultural context. The India Science mobile app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store and Apple Store.
Indigenous research on eNose has been conducted in India independently as well as in collaboration between Department of Science and Technology and University of Liège in Belgium.
Available instruments that are present in the market, they are very high cost, and secondly they are very time consuming. You need a trained professional person to operate such kind of instruments. So all these drawbacks made the way to the development of an electronic nose system.
CDAC Kolkata pioneered the development of eNose for commercial use. They had developed eNose for tea, rice, obnoxious odors, jasmine and diabetes, while the basic technology of the eNose remains the same.
Our entire emphasis is on the application. Say for example, for tea, first we try to attack what are the problems in tea and how obviously in terms of aroma classification and how we can handle it. Next, once the application is established, then we build the prototype. It may be a large prototype, it may require a computer to process the data, to analyze the data, to store the data and to present the data. We do not bother about that. We develop the prototype with a computer interface and we place it to field for trials. Once we are satisfied with the trials, then we go for the second phase, the engineering part of it, to reduce the size and weight, to optimize everything, optimize power, optimize size, optimize all the aspects, so that it and we target more on the usability part of it, so that a layman or a simple operator can operate the device.
Electronic nose is having a odor delivery system, which is a air pump, which is having a sensor array, and there is a signal conditioning, electronic signal conditioning module, which converts analog signal to digital signal. Thereafter, once you have converted smell into electrical signal, it's the domain of electronic engineers and software engineers come into play. It's very easy for any electronic engineer to convert an analog signal to a digital signal, and then to acquire that signal in the form of a data matrix in a computer, and then once the data is good and huge in dimension, then you can train a machine through machine learning system, so that your machine or your computer knows that which pattern is good smell pattern, which pattern is bad smell pattern, and the kind of presentations and the quantification of smell you need for a particular domain, that can be very nicely handled.
We developed an algorithm that is called an incremental learning algorithm, And so that incremental algorithm, if that is executed in this computer, then it will take all new sets of samples and incorporate the entire knowledge in that electronic nose. This is one part, and another challenge that we faced while developing this electronic nose for tea quality is that there are some ambiguity, because we have to depend upon the tea testers' grades, and these tea testers, if we take multiple readings from multiple tea testers, then their readings are not always same. So in that case, we have to somehow resolve that ambiguity, and for that we have used a very advanced mathematical technique that's called rough set, and to resolve this problem, and we could solve that. If there is some problem, for example, if for the same tea sample, if the two tea tasters they give different readings, so that problem can be solved with this advanced algorithm. So there are new techniques of data analysis. We have explored them. There are new areas of artificial intelligence and machine learning, deep learning techniques are there. So we have incorporated all these algorithms in electronic nose to make it more like an human nose.
And if you see, the advantage of this system is that you can develop it into a handheld system or a portable system, and you can train it the way you want it, like based on the application. Whatever application you want, you can train the system in that way.
Tea as a beverage is popular worldwide. Tea is normally graded by human tea tasters who evaluate it on a scale of 1 to 10 based on its flavor, aroma, color and strength. However, the evaluation by human noses is subjective. For the purpose of bringing objectivity to the grading process, CDAC Kolkata developed an e-nose for tea. To start with, appropriate sensors were identified based on their sensitivity with the major aroma-producing chemicals of black tea. Then, this sensor array was exposed to black tea samples that were collected from the tea gardens in India, and the computational model was developed based on artificial neural network methods to correlate the measurements with the tea tasters' scores. With unknown tea samples, encouraging results have been obtained with a more than 90% classification rate. CDAC developed two versions of this e-nose, an on-site one and another handheld portable type. These are being used in the tea industry as well as in research institutions in India. This e-nose opens up immense scope for future research, for quality assessment of tea and the standardization of tea aroma and flavor. Basmati rice holds a prime place among different varieties of rice across the world for its grain size and aroma. Conventionally, its quality is graded by humans for aroma as one of the key parameters. This process is slow, non-repeatable and laborious, apart from being subject to error due to individual bias and decrease in sensitivity of the human nose due to prolonged exposure or infection. An electronic nose has the potential to eliminate such problems by standardizing the aroma characterization of basmati rice. The electronic nose for aromatic rice system consists of a sensor array, a micro pump, and solenoid valves with programmable sequence control, a PC-based data acquisition, and an olfaction software. Specially designed sample holders made of aluminum were used for experimental runs. The holder was fixed to the instrument by simple lock fitting. The entire sniffing cycle consists of an automated sequence of internal operations like headspace generation, sampling, and purging. The e-nose for rice has been deployed at the Rice Research Institute at Chinsura, IARI Pusa, and the Uttar Banga Krishi Vidyalaya, West Bengal. Pulp and paper industries generate poisonous gases and unpleasant odors harmful for humans both within and outside the paper mills. Some of these offensive smells have a very low odor threshold and are mostly volatile. Traditionally, these gases are measured through colorimetry and chromatography methods that are costly and limited to on-site analysis. A metal oxide sensor-based e-nose was jointly developed by CDAC Kolkata and CSIR NIRI Nagpur for quick measurement of the intensity and concentration of the odors. This e-nose has a sampling unit, a sensor unit, and a suction and purging unit. The sampling unit has a humidifier and a dust sampler to eliminate humidity and dust. The gas samples collected in a tiddler bag from the surroundings of major source points of industry were exposed to the sensor array and the change in voltage was measured and analyzed. The overall results suggested the potential of electronic nose for on or offline measurement of odorant concentration and odor intensity, with potential for generic use in other such industries. The extract of jasmine flower petals, called concrete, is exported from India and is well known for its unique fragrance quality. Like for tea, the quality testing of jasmine is subjective in nature and is traditionally carried out by human sensory testers who judge it by its fragrance and the bud opening indicator, or BOI. They grade the quality between A and E from inferior to superior. The judgment is often inaccurate as it is subjective and non-repeatable. CDAC Kolkata profiled the fragrance of the flower with a custom handheld and battery-operated e-nose, or HEN. 3 specific species of jasmine were applied to the e-nose one by one. Analysis of the responses revealed that distinct clusters were formed for different species. Another study was also done to find out a relationship between concrete quality with various flowering stages, as well as with seasonal variation. Jasmine concrete produced in the laboratory from flowers harvested at different times of the day were analyzed. Results revealed that concrete produced with BOI level 1.5 emitted maximum aroma generating volatiles. These observations showed that e-nose can be a potential gadget for fragrance profiling as well as for standardizing the selection of best quality flowers for concrete extraction. Our liver produces ketones that are used by our body as fuel. However, in diabetes, ketone production increases and remains unused. Acetone, that is a form of ketone, emits a fruity smell, and a person's breath can indicate if he is diabetic, but there is no means to measure it. To find a solution to this issue, a non-invasive and cost-effective e-nose has been developed jointly by CDAC and Kolkata Medical College. Here, the patient needs to exhale breath through his alveoli and not the mouth, as that can also contain moisture. The instrument was tested extensively with 587 patients.
Two important things we are trying to do over here: entire breath profiling of the person, whether he is a diseased person or non-diseased, and we will do the in situ breath sample. So, patient will give the breath on the system itself.
We applied that instrument and compared their breath air blood estimation of the blood sugar level with finger prick blood sugar and the venous blood sugars. So, 3 at a time. At this moment, we have categorized this instrument is the 3 category. When some person is exhale the breath, whether the person is non-diabetic or diabetic or extremely high sugar range. This instrument has an accuracy of around 97 to 98% of the standard method which we are now using as a finger prick or the venous blood draw samples.
The uniqueness of this e-nose is that it can diagnose within a minute, and after a short gap of a few minutes, it can be reused again.
India Science is an internet-based science TV channel initiated by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, implemented and managed by Vigyan Prasar. India Science on the URL www.indiascience.in is a bilingual channel with content in Hindi and English. It can be accessed on any internet-enabled device. This video platform is dedicated to science and technology knowledge dissemination with a strong commitment to spreading scientific awareness, especially with Indian perspectives, ethos and cultural context. The India Science mobile app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store and Apple Store.
CDAC Kolkata primarily focused on the development of e-nose while using metal oxide sensors. However, research is also being undertaken in other parts of India for the development of e-nose based on other types of sensors.
In IIT Bombay, we are working on various technology platforms for detection of explosives and other gases. One of the primary points of eNose is that you take inputs from a variety of sensors and finally combine them with some data processing algorithms in order to make the eNose. The first type of sensor that we developed, and it is out to this company called NanoSniff, is a micro heater based sensor which detects explosives.
NanoSniff Technologies was incubated at IIT Bombay in 2011, and the idea was to make a product which will be able to detect explosives in the trace phases, that is in the nanogram levels. So, we started with the idea that we will build it using micro cantilevers, but later on we realized that cantilevers do not work. So, we started the work with micro heaters or micro hot plates. The approach that we use could be called as detonation or deflagration, and the idea is that you ramp the temperature of the micro heater to a very high temperature, about 600-700 degrees Celsius, in a few milliseconds. This gives a thermal shock to the sample that you have collected. So, if it is an explosive, it will explode because that is its innate nature of an explosive, to explode. If it explodes, then we have a sensor, a temperature sensor built in the device itself. So, that will pick up the small change in temperature which happens due to the micro explosion. So, and you can see that this is based on a physics approach. We have built the electronics, we have built the algorithms, we have built the product. So, everything is ready. We have done thousands of tests. We have been certified by a DRDO laboratory in Pune, that is HEMRL, that our product can detect 10 nanograms. So, that is one of the lowest quantities. In the lab, we have got much better than that as well. And in terms of competitors, so there are companies that are selling products in the country, but then those products have a chemistry based approach, and therefore their selectivity, false positives are very high. So, selectivity is low. And in terms of price, I think because it is make in India, we have the control over the device, we have the control over the technology, the electronics and the intelligence that is built in, this product can be very reasonably priced for the Indian markets.
One of the other types that we are developing is a micro cantilever based sensor, which we are developing with the help of funding received from the Principal Scientific Advisor's Office. These micro cantilevers are very, very small cantilevers, 200 micron long by 40 micron wide, which bend if there is a explosive molecule which comes and sticks to it. And each of these chips that you can see has 4 cantilevers on it, and the 4 cantilevers react differently to the different types of explosives that come and stick to it. And that data is taken electrically and processed using some proprietary algorithms in order to detect whether there is an explosive or not. A third platform that we are developing is an optical fiber based platform, and that optical fiber based platform we have tried it with ASTM standards, that means 23 nanograms of TNT. What is 23 nanograms? That means someone has touched TNT and placed their finger on the table, then someone touched that place and placed their finger on some other point in the table, and like this 6 people, it is called 6 level of transference, that brings 23 nanograms on the table. We can detect 23 nanograms of TNT, that is less than a 1 micron speck of TNT, we can detect that.
A fourth application being developed by IIT Bombay is for interesting gases such as acetone, that is a marker for diabetes. This is a paper-based sensor which can detect acetone in breath. All of these sensors are extremely inexpensive, and the idea is to deploy them on a mass scale. Currently, explosive detection at airports is done with IMS that costs 10 to 12 lakh rupees an instrument. As such, it is not possible to install it on a mass scale at every train station or in every big fair going on where there are multiple entry points. The research at IIT Bombay is being done to develop sensors that can be used for such purposes.
Lot of agricultural, environmental applications are upcoming. We are very hopeful that very focused research in this area may add lot of values to Indian technological strength as well as Indian families, Indian people who lives in the hinterland of our country.
eNose technology is a flexible technology and the technology of the future. It has the unique ability to improve products while delivering new levels of performance and efficiency to both the mass market and complex specialized applications. We may not be able to see the sensors, but we shall see the applications as they continue to improve the quality of our lives and also the products that we use. Please mail us your feedback on our show on info@vigyanprasar.gov.in, or you can also write to us at Vigyan Prasar, A50 Institutional Area, Sector 62, Noida, Uttar Pradesh 201309. For more information, you can also view our website www.vigyanprasar.gov.in.